Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Summary. I am your host, Kyle. With me, as always, is Steve. Steve, good morning to you. We got a lot to get into today. The first being Gravenberch's first performance as a number 6 last week in the season opener. It was really good. We'll also look into the transfer rumors, the latest on mamardasvili, and that's kind of addicting to say that name. And also the latest rumors surrounding defenders, midfielders, which we haven't signed anybody so far. So let's take a look at it all. Steve, how you doing this morning?
Doing great. Excited to dive into the topics of the day. Who do we got in here? Oyvind, Liz, Hannah, Dermot.
Stellar. What's up, guys? Dermot. Shout out
Stellar.
to everyone in the chat. Make sure you leave your thoughts throughout the show in the chat. Steve, let's jump right into the Gravenberch thing, man. I just kind of wanted to touch on this because as I was thinking last night about what topics to talk about on the show today, because, we're not really signing anybody, I was thinking, wait a minute. One topic that I just can't get off my mind is the fact that Gravenberch was so good in that season opener game against Ipswich Town. And I kind of just wanted to get what you thought about it because you and I both watched the game together. And I don't know if you noticed what I noticed, but Gravenberch as a 6, as a pivot guy, playing with his back to goal, turning and distributing the ball, in my opinion, looked like his natural position as opposed to a progressive ball carrier.
I think everybody might be getting a little ahead of themselves.
No, after one game?
No way. So he looked great, but he was playing against a championship caliber side. Like Ipswich is probably going back down, if I had to guess. He was probably the man of the match. I mean, maybe Salah. A lot of players played well, especially in that second half. What I can't picture yet, Kyle, is him putting in a shift like that against a top side. Like, I cannot picture him doing that against a City, an Arsenal, in these bigger matches. And I also, like, what we think as fans is just could be so far from reality. Who knows? Like, is he going to play today? Like, we don't even know. So I'm cautiously optimistic, but it was really nice to see. I still think we need another defensive midfielder. Unless, I mean, this conversation could be different in 2 or 3 weeks if he keeps doing this. But I don't know, man. If we were playing a final tomorrow, I'd probably want Endo starting there.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
Don't forget what Endo did last year. We can't forget that. Recency bias is so overrides everything.
It does.
With this club, with this sport, with a lot of sports. But Endo was great last year. His preseason wasn't great by any means, but we're one game in.
I think that might have done him in, right? I mean, it appears that Slot just has no time for bullshit. Slot's just kind of like, all right, you messed up, you're out of there. See you later. And I do want to touch on a interview that Gravenberch actually did with Liverpool where he said that Slot told him, look, I want you to become comfortable in the 6 and the 8, right? Like those are the 2 positions you'll probably be playing this season. So he has experience playing with that at Ajax, and we saw it against Ipswich. It was really good. But I think you bring up a good point by saying that he played against Ipswich, right? Maybe a step up today against Brentford, but we probably won't really know what he's got until we take on, Man United, Arsenal, City. You know what I mean? So I think that's an excellent point. But I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Endo. We don't see Endo ever again, bro.
I think you're no.
Dude,
No.
I swear to God. I mean, obviously I'm being a little bit hyperbolic here, but I just feel like Slot is such a guy where he's just roasting everyone all of a sudden. He roasted Kwanzaa after not winning duels, right? Which apparently they got into a little bit of an argument behind the scenes. I don't know if you knew that, but Kwanzaa voiced his concerns, rightly so, right? I don't know of many coaches who would kind of call out players like that. if it were me, I mean, I kind of respect it to a certain extent, but I almost think in my head, you kind of just approach it with we took Kwanzaa off for tactical reasons, but played very well. I just thought in the second half, Konate was a better fit, right? Something like that, something generic. Um, but no, this man said he missed a lot of duels and just kind of a
Well, dude, if anybody that watched the game, like when the match is on, we formulate our own opinions on how things are going and how players are playing, and then we scroll through Twitter at halftime or whatever the case may be. Nobody was calling for Kwanzaa to get yanked, and
no,
I mean, we
no.
were all
I mean,
surprised
I
that he
wasn't.
started. Maybe I think a lot of people may have been surprised that he started. I was. I thought that was a bold move. But by no means, in my opinion, was Kwanzaa the reason that first half wasn't pretty. By no
No,
means. Because center backs don't control the game. We didn't control the game. That's midfield. So look, it was definitely like a bold statement, but I don't know. Look, here's what I think. I don't know if you're going to see that the whole year. I think he might be trying to set a standard right now. Make
good.
an example out of somebody that maybe didn't play great. Like, I remember seeing that quote and thinking, what duels did he lose? I
Yeah,
mean, I'm
you don't
sure there
really.
were duels. And I mean, I'm not like honing in on Kwanzaa like every second of the match, but
Oh, missed duel.
I mean, we were watching it together. We didn't say, "Oh, Kwanzaa, oh man, this is rough," like at
The the
all.
the only one he got beat down the wing one time. There, I
Yes.
remember that specifically, but aside from that, you're right. Nothing.
I remember that as well. And it wasn't even a duel.
Yeah, it was kind
He
of a
just got
one.
beat.
Yeah, he got beat. Good morning, Lyle. Don't know if he is trying to set a standard. I think it's just him. I think it's just him flat out like, when he came out after the interview, when asked to comment on the Gravenberch comments, and he basically said like maybe it's the language, maybe I didn't say it correctly, right? And maybe he's backtracking, maybe he's being honest. I don't know, but I do think if players understand, like, look, this guy's no bullshit. This guy's gonna pull you. Which honestly, I think a lot of fans found that refreshing. I think a lot of fans like enjoyed that he didn't wait until the 60th or 70th minute to pull someone. I think fans respected that. And it showed that it was the right decision by the fact that we dominated the second half.
I mean, it shows that starting Kwanzaa was the wrong decision. That's what I think. And there's two ways you can look at it. You can look at it as, okay, this is a tactical decision. Kwanzaa's playing bad, which again, I don't think anybody really felt strongly about. Clearly, aside from him. And then the other thing is maybe it was, and this isn't the way he described it, but maybe it was almost like an internal admission that he made the wrong decision on the starting 11. But here's an interesting point. This one here. We'll see if he does it. Imperious Groover, what's up? We'll see if he does it with the more senior members of the squad, right? Like if he rips Salah off at halftime, that's not going to go well.
No.
You get these guys like Trent, Salah, Soboslai that could have a bad half, right? Like, are you going to rip them off
I mean,
at
he took
halftime?
no, that's a good point, but he subbed off Trent and Robbo in that game, and which was kind of an odd substitution for me, but who knows? Who knows why he did it? But there's two minds here. Like if he does it to the senior members of the squad, we know that he's not just picking out a young guy and just like setting a standard, right? Because that would be kind of messed up if he chose a 20-year-old to like make an example out of it. Like, how about have some balls, right? Take Salah off at halftime, you know?
Yeah. We'll see.
Like, good Lord.
I think that can really damage a player's confidence, though. Like, first match of the year, you're in the starting 11. It's a really big deal. And then you get pulled off at half for a half that, again, a half of play that I don't think was bad. Like, the team didn't look good, but I don't know. That said, you got to get the win.
I know what you're
Kwanzaa, I
trying to
mean,
say.
Konate should have been there from the start.
Right. I
You
think he'll
don't
start
take
today.
risks on yeah, exactly. Probably. You don't take risks in your first match at a new club. I thought that was a risk.
I don't think he was taking a risk though, Steven. I think he played Kwanzaa because he saw Kwanzaa all preseason perform. Kanate only came back for maybe the last preseason game. I could be wrong. Correct me on that, guys. Maybe the last 2 preseason games. And he wasn't exactly stellar. And so I think Slot strictly chose Kwanzaa because Kwanzaa played better in preseason. Rightly so. If you train well, you're going to start. I think that's how it should be. And if you play like shit, you get subbed off, which is exactly what he did, I guess. I mean, I don't think Kwanzaa played particularly bad, but I guess he did. I think what's going to be interesting today when we see the starting lineup is one, if Kanate starts over Kwanzaa, which I'm like 90% sure he will, just based on how well Kanate played in the second half. And two, if he even rotates at all.
Well, Kwanzaa's hurt too.
Though that's true. Yeah, good point. Forgot about that. So Kwanzaa's injured, so Kanate will definitely play. And then, of course, you got Gomez, which was he not even in the squad last? He wasn't even in the squad against Ipswich, I thought. Interesting. Shout out to Liz. Liz, getting your member for 44 months. Shout out. We won. United lost. James freaking Milner. Milner locked up everyone on United yesterday, bro. Milner at what is he, 38 years old now? Shout out to James Milner, man. Absolutely incredible. Liz, thank you so much for supporting the channel for damn near 3 years. Shout out to you. We appreciate
Damn near
it.
4.
4. I can't do math. Can't do
All
math.
right.
Thank you, Steve. Man. Stellar says Klopp was loyal to players, so I like Slot's approach. And that's a good point. I want to leave this comment up, Steve. What do you think about that? Favoritism. And it seems like you cannot get on Slot's good side. He might be one of those
Again,
guys
it's
where
so early.
it
It's
is,
so
I
early.
know. It's so fun to
Klopp
speculate.
was loyal to players. There's no doubt. But at the end of the day, I feel like most of Klopp's tenure, and this is just my personal opinion, for most of his tenure, we didn't really have, like, you couldn't really just like rip Trent off at halftime and like plug in someone suitable. With the exception of maybe the last few years with Gomez. I mean, last year or two, maybe. But we never had a huge amount of depth. Klopp was known for his subs in the 60th, 70th minute, like every other manager, by the way. Players getting taken off at halftime is rare. It doesn't matter the club.
But I love
what
that.
I would like to know. What's that?
I love that. I love because someone said in the chat here, there were times under Klopp we were screaming for players to be taken off at halftime. And you can only I literally only remember maybe like one time he took off like Keita at halftime because he was just playing that bad. Right?
Yeah, there was a few times, a handful of times. But clubs just don't really make subs at half. Now, I would love to know if anyone in the chat knows, let us know. Did he do that on a regular basis at Feyenoord? Did he pull people off at half on a regular basis? I would love to know that.
Shout out to Shayna. Good morning. Yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to know what he did at Feyenoord because I didn't really follow it. But, going back to the Gravenberch thing, it's interesting to think that, you had McAllister, you had Soboslai, you had Endo, you have Curtis Jones. And Gravenberch, to be honest, bro, was like 5th or 6th in the pecking order last year under Klopp. He played 26 matches, only 1 goal, no assists all of last year. Didn't really hit the ground running. Now, again, he might not be a production guy. He might not see him get on the stat sheet. But he could be what Slot loves, like what Slot is looking for. Him and McAllister, some reason gives me a good feeling, man. Really does give me a good feeling. Better than Endo, even though Endo's good. Don't get me wrong, but it gives me a good feeling that Gravenberch, this player with so much potential, such a high ceiling, could be the answer to the quote-unquote 6 problem.
He only started 12 matches last year. And he only played 1,100 minutes. So 26 appearances, 12 starts, 1,100 minutes. That's like 11 games worth, maybe 12.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually, yeah, you're right. He didn't play a lot last year. I do think him and McAllister in that double pivot is kind of
It's
exciting
attractive.
because they both have that defensive aspect to them.
Yep.
We didn't know that Gravenberch really had that. And I don't know if you remember, Kyle, but last year I was calling for him to play the sixth.
I don't remember that.
When we started running into trouble before we knew that Endo could be what he became, I was like, why don't we just plug this guy there? Because
Mhm.
McAllister was playing there for the first 3 months of the year, and he just seemed like he was trapped
Yeah.
almost. But with McAllister and his solid defensive ability and his ability to distribute the ball, he's not much of a carrier. And then Gravenberch has the defensive ability and the ability to carry the ball. I think they complement each other well. Neither of them are like dead set defensive midfielders,
Of course.
but they're both serviceable. And then Gravenberch can carry and McAllister can distribute. So I think it works. If one pushes forward, the other one can stay back.
See, I feel like though it should and probably is the opposite of what you just said. I think McAllister should be the progressive ball carrier as opposed to Gravenberch. I trust McAllister on the ball way more than Gravenberch at the moment. I think Gravenberch has the size and the length, and just the confidence. I mean, he just looks so confident against Ipswich, just receiving the ball with his back to goal and just like taking one touch, turning and passing, maybe taking a step away from a defender. Whereas McAllister, we've been calling for McAllister to play a more forward role, like because that's where he thrives. So I think the opposite of what you said may be true. However, that
Well,
doesn't mean
no. So I was strictly talking about their abilities. What I said, I think, in terms of their abilities is true, but I agree with you. I would rather McAllister have the ball at his feet more. But I what I was trying to say is I think Gravenberch is more of a ball carrier than McAllister. I think McAllister is more of a distributor
Mhm.
and can hit one from deep,
I
right?
see. I
But
see what you mean. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
just from ability wise,
Like
they
more
can complement
vision.
each other.
Yeah. Okay. Liz here. Shout out to Liz. From what I've read, Slot has strong game management skills. He doesn't wait for subs and benches players when needed. And that's very clear. Very clear that this guy just has no time for it. If you only have 95 minutes, 100 minutes in a match, you got to make decisions quick. And I think that's what he did. And I love today. So one game, anything can happen in one game. I think today, Steve, is really where a lot of fans are going to make their decision on Slot. Right? I feel like I'm still up in the air. I like what he's doing. But if we win today comfortably and decisively, I think we can say like what Slot is doing is good. Like it's it's a positive style of football. It's a good approach tactically, and his player selection is okay, right? Even though it is Ipswich and Brentford, I really do think we can say that.
I will be curious. I would agree with all of that. I would be curious today. I'm gonna some dust here. Yep. You didn't even tell me about the dust, Kyle.
No one noticed the dust.
I'm sure someone was just zooming in on the dust.
I'm sure they
Um,
were. Yeah.
so I want to know what's going to happen with Darwin Nunez. I want to know what's going to happen with Gakpo and Elliott.
Those are
Are we going to see any of them start?
that's a great point. I can't help but think that Elliott, I mean, different managers, right? Different managers. Elliott played damn near every game last season, if not every game. He was at least subbed on. Okay. And Darwin Nunez, just with his raw capability, and the same goes for Elliott and Gakpo, they should play every game, regardless if they start. Now, this goes back to Slot's tactical approach. He may say, I don't give a shit if you're Lionel Messi, right? Or Cristiano Ronaldo. If you're not fitting the tactics for the game or the flow of the game, I'm not putting you on, which I kind of respect, right? Like Jota was playing phenomenal. And Jota is a completely different style of player than Darwin Nunez. All right. And I think everyone can agree with that. where I was getting a little confused was like Gakpo. Like Gakpo, Elliott could have come on for Soboslai. I think Elliott would have thrived in the middle of the pitch there. I don't know. We'll see today. Maybe he'll surprise us all. I saw the dust,
And
but I thought it was what?
I didn't mention Curtis Jones either.
Curtis Jones, that's another great example.
So he brought on Gakpo at 79. He brought on Konate at half. Samikas 79. Connor Bradley 77. Samikas, Connor Bradley, I feel like should be the last people off the bench.
I think it's a style of play thing. I think the wing players get fatigued quicker because he plays the fullbacks, the full length of the pitch.
It's just so interesting to me. Like Endo not playing, fine. Like the midfield turned it on in the second half. Okay. Curtis Jones, I could kind of see that as well, but he became a staple under Klopp. He really did when he was fit.
Before you
Harvey
progress,
Elliott and Darwin Nunez.
Before you go into Harvey Elliott and Darwin Nunez, I promise, I just want to ask you a question. Is there a team in the Premier League that Curtis Jones does not start for if he's on the team?
Yeah, there's probably a handful.
Okay, so like the top 6 teams, you'd say?
Yeah.
Okay,
but I think he'd start the majority of games for most of the league.
Okay, I was just genuinely curious.
I mean, he's not getting into City. He's not getting into Arsenal. Yeah, probably the top 6, I'd say. He would struggle to start.
Okay. Anyways, you were saying Harvey Elliott and Nunez?
Darwin Nunez. Like, Harvey Elliott had a great season. Darwin Nunez, we know what he's capable of. And he was a big money player. Like, if Darwin Nunez doesn't play today, like, I think there's going to be some trouble in paradise.
That's what I was thinking, bro. Like, 2 Premier League games.
Against lower level sides.
Correct.
I want to give Brentford respect, but at the end of the day, they're still Brentford.
And you don't play
if you can't get on against them,
5 million or 68 million, whatever the hell he ends up being, pound signing. You're right. Like, is Darwin the cup striker? That's a little concerning. Oh, man. Shout out to Liz for gifting a membership. We appreciate you, Liz. 44 months supporting the channel and always gifting memberships every week. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And what are you looking up?
Brentford won last week.
Yeah, who'd they beat?
They beat Palace. They scored 2 goals and then they had an own goal.
Who, by the way, I watched Palace against, I want to say it was West Ham yesterday. And, Palace have lost 2 in a row, but they played really well yesterday. I just really felt the need to say that. I feel like they played really well. And so did West Ham. I think both of those teams are just really good teams. I think they have really good squad players. West Ham actually has some like stars, but
well, Palace outplayed Brentford from a statistical perspective.
Mm-hmm.
More shots on target, more possession, more passes, better pass accuracy, more corners.
They looked good, man. They really did.
Yeah, they're maybe it's just luck's not on their side.
Lyle here says, I also want to see more of Tyler Morton. He's really talented, but he's so far down the pecking order. See, I think for me, I'd like to see Tyler Morton and Stefan Bajcetic. But guys, Trey Neone, he's the one.
Isn't Bajcetic leaving?
Yeah, I think, well, he's being linked with a loan move to nearly every Spanish club. In fact, there were rumors that he was actually being discussed as part of the Zubamendi deal before that collapsed. So that's pretty interesting. What I want to bring up is that Trey Neone is far better and just surpasses the eye test for me than Tyler Morton and Bajcetic based on what I saw in preseason. He is far and above both of those players. So that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, I think you're right. What I think with Neone is I think he just would probably need to get up to the pace of the game a little bit better. He had a lot of time on the ball when we watched him play in preseason. That's not going to be the case in the Premier League. Everything is 1.5 times faster than the preseason matches. So it'll be interesting to see if he breaks in at all, but he's really good.
Absolutely. Shout out to Queasy and Ross, our other channel members. Good morning to everyone. Alexander DeLoss, Stephen Price. And Stephen Price, touching on the topic we were just saying. I hope preseason didn't lull everyone into a false sense of security. Remember when we beat City in the Charity Shield? Then we had an awful season when every pundit said we needed midfielders, star players, 2 years older now. So it's obviously a good point, right? And
Awful season.
I don't even remember the season, to be honest with you. I want to touch on the fact that, yes, you can have a good preseason and have a bad season, right? You can be lulled into a false sense of security if you're playing Ipswich and Brentford in your first 2 matches of the season, right? And poor Ipswich, dude, they had to go up against us and then City in the first 2 matches in the Premier League. Jesus Christ. Now, so yes, but that's why I said today, for me, this is the ultimate test. Not the ultimate test, but just for me, if there's 2 back-to-back Premier League matches where Slot implements his tactics, the players follow through on those tactics and get a good result, personally, I think, okay, I'm sold on Slot. I think we're going to be a good team this year. But Brentford, I think, is going to be way more of a test than Ipswich Town. And do you think Carvalho and Van Den Berg start?
I don't think they can play for him domestically against a team that sold you. Or maybe that's just loan deals.
No, that's definitely just loan deals.
No, I don't. Not both. Not both of them.
Dude, what if they both start?
That would be hilarious.
They paid $25 million for both of them. It's absurd.
It's great business.
It's great business.
You better put that money back into a purchase. Like
they sold Van Den Berg.
You can't start shipping off all these players that were on the cusp or depth players and not bring anyone in to replace them.
Alex,
Sorry,
I know
cannot.
This is a hot take, but I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you mean, Alexander. Like, he did look like the best midfielder we had in preseason. A lot of people say, what are you talking about? He did. He absolutely did. Nobody reads too much into preseason. Incredibly naive if anyone does. Well, then call me naive, bro, because I was watching preseason like a hawk. And I was like, damn, we're good. So did I. I thought he was a striker. And I think he played wing when he was at Leicester. He may have played wing in the academy at Liverpool too, or the under 21s, whatever the hell he plays for. But apparently he can play everywhere. He's a James Milner. James freaking Milner. And yeah, we do need a center back. So yeah, a lot of stuff about transfers and everything. But looking at the Brentford match today, Stephen already kind of opened up that can of worms with, Brentford beating Crystal Palace. Brentford aren't a bad team. I don't think they're a bad team at all. I mean, if you can beat Palace finished 10th last year. They do have good players. I think Palace's strength is in their attack, personally. But did they play at home against Palace? They must have, right? They beat them at home.
The G-Tech Community Stadium must be home.
Okay, yeah, that must be home. Okay, so I mean, what do you think? You nervous?
No.
You intrigued?
We're home. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see who plays.
I'm really excited to see who plays.
I wouldn't be surprised if he rotates. I wouldn't.
You don't okay. So starting 11.
If I was a betting man, I'd bet on a similar lineup, but I would not be surprised if he rotates because he doesn't know what he's got.
I don't think he rotates, bro. I don't. I mean, if he does, that'd be crazy. Like, imagine he puts out just like a completely different 11, aside from Van Dijk, Konate, right? But imagine he puts out like Endo, Jones, Elliott, Gakpo, Salah, and Darwin. Like, imagine he just completely rotates the squad.
That wouldn't make any sense. But if he did, that would be crazy. Then I'd be real nervous.
Would you? Okay. Oyvind says, I think Darwin. I'm going to be honest, guys. I don't like the Darwizzy nickname. It makes me cringe almost.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's a really bad one. Yeah, I saw we were linked with Jared Branthwaite. We is the mamardasvili deal over the line yet? Because Allison came out and he admitted that Liverpool had discussed it with him, because Allison said no to a move to Saudi. And according to Fabrizio Romano, Allison said, Liverpool told me about mamardasvili, and he actually said, I think it was a good idea. So very, very humble from Allison there. He said, I knew about that before it came out on social media, and that is a good message for me because the club cares about what I think. So that's interesting that they came to him and said, hey, what do you think about this guy? So at least they're keeping that line of communication open. And this is the only thing that's kind of quote unquote confirmed. And I think he's going to go back on loan to Valencia for a season, and then we'll get him next summer. And we were originally going to loan him to Bournemouth, and turns out that you can't do that. I don't think you can loan to another Premier League club within the first 6 months you buy a player. I think that's the rule. So mamardasvili, 22 years old. It's going to end up being like 25 or 30 mil. That's it. No one else. Buying goalkeepers. We don't need goalkeepers. We got 8,000 goalkeepers, and we're buying goalkeepers.
It's brutal. But we're selling.
Like crazy.
We're calling for squad depth, and we're selling. So our squad's getting more slim, and we're bringing in nobody. I don't care about a goalkeeper that's coming next year or in 2 years. I don't care. No, I don't think anybody should. I don't think anybody does. But there were people saying, like, maybe Sepp's going to be like the fourth option. Well, he's gone.
Too late. See you later.
He's gone. People were saying, well, Carvalho might get some game time. He's played in preseason. He's gone. So Hannah says there'll be no one left at this rate. No one in that like gray area of like, will we see them this year? Yeah, they're all going. Bacetic, Carvalho, Van Den Berg, all these guys. Who just got sold?
Harvey Blair just got sold.
Clark.
Bobby Clark just got sold.
Who's going to play in the cup matches? You keep getting rid of these guys. Who's playing in cup matches?
Darwin and Elliott.
No, seriously. Darwin, Elliott, Jones, Endo,
Crazy,
Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa's been relegated.
Nat Phillips might get some game time at this rate, bro.
Can't believe he's still here.
I can't believe he's still here, bro.
Like, it's so easy for us to move these other guys. But Phillips has been stuck for a decade.
Part of me thinks he doesn't want to go. I think he kind of is just casually happy making 68,000 pounds a week doing nothing.
But it doesn't matter if he wants to or not. If you're not going to use him,
no, it absolutely does matter. He has the ultimate vetoing power of any deal. He can just say, "No, I'm good. I want to stay."
I'm pretty sure if they want to sell him, they can just sell him.
No, they can terminate his contract, but if he's under contract, he can just say, "No, I don't want to go." And that's it. That's the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they terminate his contract, that's different. That's like you're getting fired, essentially. So, but then that looks bad. It's like Liverpool terminate Nat Phillips' contract because they can't sell him. What? That makes no sense. Because you have to buy out the contract. So
Liz makes a good point here. I brought this up in our, not the Discord chat, but a different text chat Kyle and I have with some other supporters. Replacing Matip. So I was sad when we let him go. I thought we should have given him another year. I thought the last two or 3 years he was better than he ever had been. Even last year, he was superb. The only foot he put wrong was that Tottenham 98th minute own goal or whatever it was.
Oh, yeah, he couldn't help that.
It's the only thing he did wrong in like 2 or 3 years. He was immense. And when you let a guy like that go and you don't replace him, that's a problem. That's a major, major problem. Because like we can try any which way to justify or say, oh, well, this guy's got promise and he's a decent fourth option. But like, no, you could start Matip today. Like, he's a first team player. You could start him and not worry. We don't have that. We have 3. And Kwanzaa's hurt. So today, imagine, knock on wood, Virgil pulls a hamstring. Konate picks up a knock. What are we doing? Who's playing next week? Gomez and Konate? If Kwanzaa's still hobbled? Tell me how this makes any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
It's foolish.
It is. I don't think anyone disagrees with you. And I think everyone's quietly pushing it to the side because no one wants to stress, including us. I really, but that's why we're here. That's why we're here talking about this, okay? We're selling all these youth players and making a decent amount of money, right? I think we're net profit as of right now in this window. And, you know, everyone's pointing at like, oh, you
Obviously,
have to sell.
we haven't spent $1.
I mean, if you count mamardasvili.
A pound, a euro.
Yeah. So,
Whatever.
but what I'm thinking is you're risking so much at the back. One injury, right? With Kwanzaa being out this week, even though it isn't a serious injury, like you said, Steve, you have Konate, Van Dijk, and Gomez, right? Of course you can say Nat Phillips. No one's talking about that because everyone knows he's not playing unless he absolutely has to. Okay? Where is the foresight with that? With that approach to the game, that squad depth?
Well, I can guarantee you they recognize it, especially Slot. Because he's probably thinking to himself, like, damn, I don't really have anybody here.
Steven, we have been having the same conversation every Sunday for 4 years. For 4 seasons, Steven. We have been
we're
trying
in the worse
to
spot now than we have
Stop.
been. We were in the worst spot now than we have been. Because Gomez isn't even a center back anymore. And he's about to leave.
Well, we don't know that. There's rumors, I know. But we have been saying this for 3 seasons. Whenever we got Konate, right? We were like, okay, that's good. We got Konate and we have Matip. Like, that was our depth, right? But even then, Matip was always injured. Okay? Gomez was always injured. So we were really like, we need someone else. Now that Matip is gone, we've actually decided, like, we don't need anybody. Or we're just not pulling the trigger on defenders, or get somebody, dude. Because you're right. Van Dijk pulls a hamstring, then you're relying on Konate and Gomez.
Dude, if Van Dijk pulls a hamstring, the season's over.
Well, it's not over. I mean,
it's over.
Steven,
we don't win the Premier League. We certainly don't win the Premier League, and we don't win the Champions League.
Okay, but we finished 3rd with Reece Williams and Ozan Kabak playing center.
No, we were 4th. I think we were 4th that year.
I think we finished 3rd.
Wasn't that the year that Allison had the header and we barely scraped into the Champions League?
Maybe it was 4th. I don't know. I think you're right, actually. I think it was 4th. But, bro, or maybe no. I think we finished 3rd that year because he scored the goal that secured us Champions League, but a result went our way, and I think we ended up finishing 3rd. Yeah, we finished 3rd. Dustin says, shout out to Dustin. But ultimately,
there's not enough rumors right now to make me feel like we're going to do something. We were working on Zubamendi, and the 6 was the position I was calling for the most, and then center back secondary. But
well,
that's changed.
Let me just say, a lot of the stuff I'm reading, right? Because I went into a real deep rabbit hole last night with Twitter and articles and Liverpool forums and stuff. A lot of the stuff is saying is that Liverpool's approach to transfers is heavily PR based. right? So the Zubamendi deal looked bad, right? You had this guy who you were essentially like, he was your guy. He's the one you wanted. And then in the 12th hour, he essentially just said, nah, I'm rejecting you and staying here. That looks bad. Okay, honestly, it looks bad on Zubamendi too, but I think Liverpool were almost slightly embarrassed by that. And so everything I was reading yesterday was saying that Liverpool are nervous about committing to pursuing a player because they don't want to be rejected again or something. It's like you're in middle school right now. And again, a lot of these articles sounded very opinion based, very speculative, not so much based in fact. But you got to think to yourself, like, if Chelsea are going out and doing this with no regard for human life, having 87 players on their first team roster, can't you go out and just pursue a player? And if you get rejected, oh well, move on to the next one. And
Yeah, you should be able to.
not even in midfield, dude. Defense.
Dude, here's the thing. Sometimes I think lately I've been thinking maybe people don't want to come here because they don't know what Slot's all about. Maybe. But nobody seems hesitant to go to Chelsea with Maresca or whatever his name is and 100 players to compete with. So I don't think that's a thought process that makes sense anymore. Players are willing to move. Good players are willing to move. I mean, I certainly hope they're not nervous. We don't have time for nerves. It's your job.
No one's nervous, bro. I'm telling you, it's the money. When Chelsea are throwing you 8 years guaranteed, 8 years, that's everything you've worked for in your entire life. I'd sign that, right? Versus Liverpool, where it's like, we'll give you a 5-year deal at half the I don't know. I mean, to me,
it wouldn't even be half. We're going to pay the market. Like, Chelsea is buying players maybe for more than they're worth, but like, they're not paying these guys $400K. Like, they're paying them like maybe above average wages, but nothing out of the realm of possibilities of what we could do or what we pay.
I know
our players get paid. It's just we don't have those high outliers that are like 500K, right? Like 600K, whatever the case may be. But neither does Chelsea.
I don't think anyone in the Premier League has anyone making over 500. I think Kevin De Bruyne is the highest paid. He's 450, isn't he?
I feel like he's like 375, but I think Haaland is higher than him.
You might be right on that. Back to defense, dude. So we already kind of, well, let's just do this before we talk about the defense anymore. Let me hear your prediction. Your starting lineup prediction, which should come out here in about 13 minutes. Or no, not
Trent,
13.
43. Trent, Robbo, Konate, Van Dijk, Allison. Standard. I think probably see the same midfield, and I think we'll see the same front three. I think the same starting 11. Kwanzaa, Konate, switch. But I think if I'm a betting man, that's what I'm betting on. However, I wouldn't be surprised if he mixes it up a little bit. Maybe he sees something in Brentford's defense that says, all right, let me throw Darwin in for Jota. I'd be okay with that. Like, Jota's great, but like, we need to protect him to some extent. So,
decent point. This is what I think happens. I think he goes with the same exact starting 11 with the exception of Kwanzaa, because Kwanzaa's out. I really do. I think he goes with the same exact starting 11. Okay. And I think we'll see different subs, right? So I think Tsimikas comes on for Robertson, which is interesting. But I think he likes Tsimikas. I really do. I think Tsimikas comes on for Robertson. And I think we see Curtis Jones, Elliott, and Darwin get subbed on. Okay. Maybe
I think Tsimikas is leaving.
Really?
He apparently.
Why are we selling players?
Dude, guys, let me know in the chat. I heard that he might go back to, who was it, Olympiacos?
Yeah.
Is that who he was with? Mm-hmm. On loan.
No chance.
I read that somewhere. Did anyone else read that?
Steven, who's playing left back if he goes?
Well, Gomez, if he doesn't get sold.
Who's playing left back? Who's our backup left back?
Gomez.
Okay, I know. Yes, you're right. But Steven, you need 2 actual left backs, okay? And your next option is Luke Chambers and Owen Beck.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense to see him go. Especially because
No.
Robbo's getting older, and Robbo's been hurt for like 8 months. He said he just started feeling normal like the last few weeks.
Yeah, he did say that. He said he played for the first time with no pain. Tsimikas has been linked with a move away since he got here. Tsimikas ain't going anywhere, okay? And I don't know if Gomez is either. I can't live in this world where we're just selling players and not getting anybody. Like, what are we doing? Tsimikas to Olympia. Luis Garcia says it to Olympiacos. I don't see it, guys. I don't see it.
Yeah, dude. Out of nowhere, he could leave.
No, if that happens, then we're definitely getting in either a left back or a left center back. I can tell you that right
Doesn't
now.
do any good though. You
What do you
need
mean?
2. Like you can't. Like it's not even good enough to get somebody that can play left back and center back. If Tsimikas goes, especially if Gomez goes too. If Gomez and Tsimikas goes, you need 3 players because with them you still need 1, at least 1. So if they both go, then you need to buy 3.
I'm just telling you, I don't see Gomez going at all. I don't see Gomez leaving. I think Gomez was linked with those stupidly linked with the Anthony Gordon thing, which I just don't understand. Like, yes, we do good business with the outgoings, right? Like in the sense that you got 25 for Van Den Berg and up to 25 with Carvalho. Phenomenal business. I'm not going to argue with that. You get 8 or 10 million for Bobby Clark. Great deal. Like those, you're doing great business. Congratulations. Okay. But then you go and try to include Joe Gomez in a deal for Anthony Gordon, who is a left mid, left wing, who we already have 8 fucking players who can play there. And you're getting rid of a center back / right back / left back that you need. It doesn't make sense, dude. So I don't think Gomez is going anywhere. I think Gomez and Tsimikas stay. And it doesn't look like we're going to sign anyone else. It's stressful, but I don't think, I mean, when does the window
When's
shut?
the window end?
The window shuts in like a week.
I think we'll get somebody. I think we'll get 1 or 2 players. That's my bold prediction. Because there's no way anyone in the club thinks this is okay.
Ross.
Gomez wasn't even in the lineup. He wasn't even in the building.
But wasn't he injured?
No, he was going to get sold. I don't think he was injured. I could be wrong, but dude, they kept him out. He was about to get sold.
I don't know about that, dude. I don't know about that, bro. I think Ross is 100% right with this. I think one good signing silences the doubters, and it happens every time. You make one good signing, everyone shuts up. And to be honest, as long as we don't sell anyone, I agree. I think one good defensive signing, bro, and we're fine. Gahey's actually being linked with Newcastle. I think it's Newcastle. Is it Newcastle?
I don't know. Don't they want like 60, 70 million for him?
Crystal Palace want absurd money for these players. Like we were linked with Decore, that DM last year. He didn't even start yesterday. Didn't even start. He was on the bench.
I respect it if they want to do that. That's fine.
That's fine. No, it's good. That's how you keep players because, you know,
but those guys are just going to want to leave. They're just going to always feel unsettled and always want to leave.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, I'm looking at Transfermarkt. We are linked with the 3 rumors about signings. Ready?
Got to be Hinkapie.
Mamardasvili.
Classic.
Okay. Martin Baturina.
Who?
He looks like a Croatian 21-year-old attacking mid, 13% chance. And then Boris Alper Yilmaz, who looks like a Turkish player from maybe Galatasaray, 24-year-old right winger. So goalkeeper, attacking mid, and right winger. Now, this is just a website, but it just goes to show you that there ain't much going on right now. Like, why don't we just, like, while we're at it, looking at irrelevant players, why don't we just, like, build a new stadium? Or, like, get a new manager. Let's just keep doing random things that make no sense. Let's get another attacking mid. Let's get another one. Because Soboslai, Elliott, and the other guys that can play there, and McAllister to some extent, Jones maybe a little. Let's just act like we don't have them and go buy a Croatian attacking midfielder.
It's what we need, Steve. It is. It's what we need.
That I've never heard of.
We should do that. Queasy said, you would totally jump off a ledge if you were a Chelsea supporter.
Because they can't get comfortable.
Probably. Like, I think I would. Because I don't know who's playing. Lavia's injured again, by the way. Pretty sure. Ross says, what if we're actually going under the radar again? What do you think the odds are that, Steve? What do you think the odds that the entire world knows we need to sign a center back, but we're not, quote unquote, linked with any center back? Even though I've seen links to the same guys we've been linked with for like a year now, Ignacio and Hincapie. Same two guys. It's like journalists are like throwing these names back out there just to see, like, are they doing it? And nothing's sticking.
If it's going to be under the radar, well, here's the thing, Ross. It would have to be. Because we would have to be working on something right now. Yeah, the Fabinho deal is a great example.
Great example.
But we would have to be working on something right now that we're going to close in the next 72 hours. Thereabouts. I think that Lavia, or maybe the Caicedo deal, that was in the final hours of a transfer window. So, like, they're willing to wait until the final hours. However, you can't just call somebody on the last day and get a deal done in an hour. So they must be, if we're going to see a signing and it's under the radar, they're working on it now. So hopefully there's something going on.
Is that not the most, Steve, I know you'll know what I mean. Is that not the most stressful scenario you can possibly imagine? Intentionally waiting until a deadline just to negotiate a deal that may take a long time. Like, knowing it might take a long time, but intentionally waiting, hoping that you'll get a better deal. Like, that, to me, that is just a nightmare. Just get the deal done. Oh, sure, you didn't save $2 million. Who gives a shit? Just get a player.
It's that Caicedo situation was earlier than this time last year. Maybe it was Labia then. I could have sworn we were in for someone in the last minutes, the last day, or we had a deadline.
It was Lavia. It was. We went back and forth. We were head to head with Chelsea the whole window, and Caicedo. That was incredible. That saga was nuts. Wow. To this day, I'm just like, wow. We had a bid accepted of 110 million, dude.
115, I think.
For a midfielder that, to be honest, not that good.
No, he's not good.
And
he's average.
So that's the first thing. And then we were going head to head over Romeo Lavia. And Chelsea just kept outbidding us. And it was almost like and that's fine. Like, take them. They've done nothing for you. But it's just like, what the hell?
We'll see. You doing a score prediction these days, or what?
I think I am going to do score predictions, guys, because I want to say that I think I've decided that for watch-alongs, I'm only going to do watch-alongs for really big games, I think. I think for me, it's more valuable. Like, I want to sit down and enjoy the game. And it's not that doing the watch-alongs I don't enjoy. I just feel like I enjoy and get more engaged in the game just watching it without commentating on it. So I hope everyone can understand that. But for the big games, I think I will end up doing watch-alongs. But for score predictions, I think it's a good time for me to bring them back because I won't be doing it, right? So, score prediction, first game at Anfield. I'm going to go 4-1.
3-0 for me. Clean sheet. All I want is clean sheets. Keep clean sheets. I'd take a 2-0 over a 4-1 any day, personally. Right now, the way I feel about the defense and the uncertainty in the new manager, give me a 2-0.
I like a 2-0.
But I think it'll be 3.
We got Oyvind here saying 4-2, which is a
scary scoreline.
Scary scoreline. Aylor says 3-0. Ross is 3-0. I wanted to say 3-0, but I just felt like, we'll probably give one up, right? We'll probably give one up. We're known. Luis Garcia, 2-0. Steve, what about you?
I said 3-0.
Oh, you did? That's right. Shayna says 2-1. It's going to be an exciting game, man. I'm just excited to see. I've been waiting all week. I'm very excited to watch this new slot team, this new style of play. I've told you before the last few weeks, it's just very exciting for me. So I appreciate everyone tuning into the show today, guys. Appreciate all your input. Thank you to our channel members. Thank you to Liz for always supporting the channel. Congrats. 44 months supporting the channel. That's awesome. And everyone else who joined this morning, we do appreciate it. Steve, thank you so much, man. Until next time, Reds. Take care.